No visit to Chicago is not complete without getting to see the world famous bean. And so here I am spending a little bit of time off from the convention, not going to any caucuses this morning, and hanging out with the folks. Is that a view or what? I mean, just, it's such a perfect, it's an incredible day. Look at that. It does such cool stuff. And then you can come up and, oh look, there I am. Oh, there's Jen.
This is the Transparency Podcast Show.
I've been on the floor, and so I got the inside scoop on what it is like being here. And I want to bring on Amber from the Amber Show. Amber Thompson, who is an amazing gal, and she and I go
way back
a little ways, and we are gonna have an entire show on our relationship and why she's here doing this for me. But let me introduce you to Amber, and she's helping me with all of this. I'm taking the footage, making some comments, and then she's helping put all of this together. And so welcome to
Thank you
Amber.
so much, Jessie. It's been so much fun working on this with you and trying to do the quick turnaround time, and I think it's working out really great with you just kind of sending up the videos. We're able to get them packaged up and send them out, so it's been a really cool experience. I haven't ever done anything like this before, but it's working out really, really great. So here we are at the end of day one of the DNC. I mean, like, first question, like, what's the mood like out there? I mean, like, what's the energy that you're feeling?
Oh my God, the energy is
I can't even imagine,
because I have heard so many people talking about how they have never seen this group of folks so energized, and they're and some of these folks go way back, and it's clear that what is going on now is such a dramatic shift from where we were when I was elected delegate to come to Chicago. I was a Biden delegate. I was for Joe, and to have him do such an incredibly honorable, brave, and selfless task to go ahead and bow out, knowing that it's time for a change. And doing it so gracefully and doing it incredibly strategically, and having the back of Kamala, who's been his steadfast vice president, and who, one thing I can say about the whole process and all of that, people talking about nobody voted for Kamala. No, come on. We voted for Kamala. It was a package deal. It was Joe and Kamala. Kamala was always who was going to be our number two. So to say that she was forced on us is so ludicrous, to be unbelievable. And we had an open process where any Democrat who wanted to try to challenge her, all they had to do was get 300 delegates. And I can tell you from my experience, there was nobody that contacted me except the vice president's team, and they were very good and responsive. And so it was a process, and so we then nominated her. So she was voted for. She's been our choice, and I wish they would stop saying that, because we are all so incredibly happy. It's like, and I think that bothers them, that there's such cohesion, and there is such unity, and there was such unity of purpose to get her and Coach Walz elected.
Well, I think also too that comes from a little bit of, of course, Republicans, they prey on the fact that the electorate doesn't know the law or doesn't know the rules. They'll twist the wording, and they'll make it evil, or they'll create like a counter version of what it truly is. And to understand the party system, the nomination system inside the party, the electoral vote versus the popular vote, a lot of those things are lost on a lot of the general public, and so they prey on that. But speaking of this nominee that was properly nominated and is now the nominee for president, she was the first one up there. I didn't actually get to see it. I was stuck at work. You barely got there. But before we get into her speech, there was some drama right off the bat. I mean, like, I was posting stories of you stuck in a bus. We're hearing about they're coming over the fences. There might have been tear gas. I'm watching you having to walk through the streets just to get to the convention center. What was going on?
Well, one of the other disadvantages of being on the ground and not having access really to television and those other things, we went to go get on the buses, and we were told that it was going to stay there for a while, that there had been a breach of the first level of security at the site, and that there was a potential, and one guy told us that they were potentially going to be using tear gas, and they were gearing up for that. And I'm like, oh my God, not a repeat of '68. I don't want to,
and I'm thinking this is going to be another January 6th all over again. Storming the Democratic National Convention, trying to disrupt this peaceful nomination process. Yeah,
I mean, can you imagine? We had the president and the vice president. If anything happened to
members
them,
of Congress, senators, I mean, like a lot of the Democratic,
the Speaker of the House, the Speaker of the House would become president, the Republican. So just think of how incredibly to get our senior leaders together, and it was got to be a Secret Service security nightmare of a scenario, but the security was really tough. And so because of that, there was an issue getting the buses through. They had the entrance blocked off, and so what literally should have been at most an hour drive ended up being like 2.5 hours, and then walking on top of that. And then there was like the cop on the bus announced that the Secret Service has indicated that you need to stay on that they want you to stay on the buses. And then I'm getting through the back channel signal channels and the different groups that I'm belonging to is like, we got off the bus and walked. We're at security now. And it was like, well, I guess that sounds like the thing to do. So that's why we got off. And yes, we beat the folks who were on the bus by quite a bit getting into the venue. And Hillary was not the first speaker. Hillary was the first speaker that I got to see, because the convention had been rolling, even though, half the delegates were potentially not there. Okay. So because we had a bunch of people streaming in after us. So it was interesting. We had one guy who was a drill sergeant. He was like talking, oh, this is nothing. And I'm like, yeah, I said, this ain't nothing like carrying that rucksack through the woods, is it? But it was I can imagine a journey. So yeah, that was really somewhat of a
So were you there then when Kamala got up on stage and got to speak, or did you miss that one? You were there for that one.
Was there. I got her coming out, and we were all just so surprised because it was not, part of the
That's why I was so shocked. I wasn't prepared for that. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna tune in after work. I'm gonna catch these speeches, and then all of a sudden, where did she come from? She's not supposed to speak till the end, So that must have been a really cool surprise.
Oh my God, it was amazing, and she, pointed and smiled at us, and because we have a primo section.
Well, you're Nebraska. You're Nebraska. They better give you a primo section.
We are Nebraska. We have our blue dot. They love us. Coach Walls is from Nebraska.
Nebraska could set up the nightmare scenario of an electoral tie. That's why Nebraska is so important.
Yes, I believe me, I know about our blue dot. I was I at the Democratic convention, I ran to be the 2nd district elector, which would be the person who signs that electoral college certificate. So yes, I am
Jessie
very
McGrath
much aware
saving
of
the world.
the key. I am so much aware of the importance of our blue dot, and it was like and one of the things that I said why I should be able to do it is I said, because if it comes down to that scenario, what could be the most karmic thing to happen to this man, and that is to have a trans woman sign the vote that denies him ever being able to be president.
Let's fucking go. Let's do this.
So it was that important to me. But yes, and I ended up not getting it, but I did get the delegate. So that's why I'm in Chicago. I am a delegate from CD2, the congressional district that is the blue dot, and so I am right in the middle of it. Yeah.
So then, what I got to see after Kamala spoke was AOC's speech, and that was really, really fiery. And in fact, let's cut to a clip to it right now, just so that we can see what we're talking about here.
And I, for one, am tired of hearing about how a 2-bit union buster thinks of himself as more of a patriot than the woman who fights every single day to lift working people out from under the boots of greed, trampling on our way of life.
I can tell you that it was so electrifying when she came out, and the cheers, the AOCs that were spread, and you could feel the power in the room of the words and the emotions that were going on in there. It was like, it wasn't like she was some left person. She was talking about real human issues, real human concerns that affect so many of us, and it was kind of a little bit of a different.
It really
AOC.
was. It absolutely was, and she was really, she's a working class hero, but oh man, was that speech appealing to the working class, and not even just. I mean, like we're talking like the class of folks that are keeping this country running, the ones that we depend on for 24-hour services, for entertainment, for all these folks that are making like minimum wage, the service industry. I mean, like she was fired up about that, and it was so exciting to see. It got me fired up just sitting at home in my garage watching it.
Oh, you should have seen the people in the room.